Well, hello there. Welcome to today's live stream, and we are very excited to present our awards for 2025 for movies and TV shows. So, well, what category shall we do first?
Let's go TV. We'll finish with movies. Movies is probably, in my opinion, the bigger thing than TV series.
Indeed.
So we'll warm up with TV series, then we'll move into movies. So the first category we're going to go with is best returning series. So we've split, best and ongoing because best and new, because sometimes I feel like it's unfair. If you've got a favorite show and it's 10 seasons in, it's very hard to compare to a brand new show. Or sometimes the excitement of a brand new show will outweigh something you've seen before. So we've split up for that reason. So best returning series. So this is anything that has had a season before and is coming back. I also wonder, should this include sequels and prequels? But no, I guess it's a new concept. So what have you got as your best returning series for the year?
My best returning sequel to season 1 is season 2 of Andor, and it's its final season because it leads into Rogue One. So for me, I really enjoyed knowing where it's going to lead to, but seeing the backstory of Andor and seeing more of the rebellion and just seeing how it leads into events that actually are really important to see how the rebellion was formed. And for me, it might not be as strong as season 1, but I loved the second half of season 2. The first half wasn't as strong, but unfortunately that's what happens. And season 2 of Andor is my best returning show.
Was it better than the first season?
No.
Okay. So my best returning series, I don't think it's any prizes for guessing. It's one of my favorite shows in its 17th season, the longest running, I guess not live action, but real actors or non-animated comedy series, and that is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So season 17, the seasons are getting shorter, which is sad, but we're still getting 8 episodes or so. This was funny from start to finish. Again, it found a way to be relevant and to talk about things that are going on in, politics, the real world, and then put their It's Always Sunny, funny twist on it. I particularly love this season because of the way it built up to something. So Danny DeVito in this series was not in the first few episodes, and he basically had gone missing. They spent the series kind of being like, where's he gone? Like, they didn't go looking for him, but they kept mentioning he's gone somewhere. And then it was revealed that he'd been on The Golden Bachelor, the TV show, and that's where he'd been all along, only to have the season finish with showing him on The Golden Bachelor, and it being very, very funny seeing basically one of the worst human beings on earth be the star of a TV show, a reality show, and seeing how he interacts with people. It was very, very funny and a clever way to mix two shows together. It also had a crossover episode with Abbott Elementary, which is a very, very popular TV series. So I think, again, it found a way to take, a show about people in a school and a teacher, and then having the Always Sunny Philadelphia characters come on and be diabolical and have evil schemes at the school. So it was very, very funny. And again, they find a way to be innovative season after season.
How many more seasons do you think it has?
Almost infinite. I think it can continue on for as long as they can find interest in wanting to write it, because there is no ongoing story in this. The characters they have not progressed from season 1 to now in terms of they're not married, they don't have kids, they haven't changed their jobs. The only thing that's happened is they've aged, and one character has gone from being straight to gay. Other than that, there is no progression of these characters. So it's not limited to we're going to run out of things no one's going to care about this anymore. Essentially, whatever's relevant, something happens in the news, whether it's Donald Trump or a war, or they will find a way to put their funny twist or take on what's going on. So as long as there's news coming out, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia can find a reason to exist.
Why do you think Always Sunny in Philadelphia worked and Mythic Quest didn't? Because it has the same writer, those shows, didn't it?
I think because Mythic Quest has a linear storyline and it needs to progress. If it doesn't, then it would just be a show about people working in an office, which we've already had before. So it really needed a progression, where this is just people in a bar thinking of evil, thinking of schemes and doing dumb shit. It's almost so simplistic that that's what allows it to continue on. If they had love interest, if they had families, you'd have to push the story forward because their kids would get older and their relationships would progress, but that doesn't happen. It's just a group of friends bickering and doing nasty things to each other, essentially. So the beauty of its simplicity allows its longevity.
Yeah.
Okay, our next award is brand new TV series. So this is something new for 2025 that we have not seen before. What is your number one?
It's actually a Netflix show. I was leaning towards something else, but I think this show just hit me more, and that's Department Q. The first episode, just that twist of how it ended, it was pretty shocking, and I loved how you're thinking this was going to be a detective murder show and also like a lawyer show at the same time. And then that reveal, that shock, that had me really wanting to binge watch this show from the beginning. And then I had to keep watching it, and I'm really looking forward to season 2. So Department Q, best news show of this year.
Okay, not heard of it. Interesting. My brand new show of the year, favorite show of the year that was new, was Stick on Apple TV. This is a show I was very excited about when I heard it being made. 1, being about golf, and 2, having Owen Wilson in it. The show was very solid. I enjoyed watching it, but it definitely could have been better. I think that there was elements of it that I think if they did a bit differently, the show would have went from here to here. Nonetheless, it was still very good. I just think it didn't reach its potential of how good it really could be. I think it was at its best when it featured cameos of famous golfers in it. I think from a golfer's perspective, there's elements of it that were a bit unrealistic that I think if you made it more realistic, then other golfers would have, related to it a bit more. But nonetheless, it was solid, and I'm looking forward. I think what I like about it the most is what it's set up for season 2, and the potential of season 2 really topped off what was kind of an okay series most of the way to now it's built onto how good it can be. So I think season 2 it will reach its potential, or it doesn't, and then it becomes a really bad show and crashes down to earth.
I guess it's a balancing act for the writers because they want to balance golf people and also people that probably don't really understand golf, so they have to kind of balance it out. But what you've said from the show, it's very unrealistic that they involve the mother when it's like, shouldn't the mother go, well, I should let the coach be the coach instead of going, you need to pay for me?
Yeah, there's some odd things that even if you're not a golfer doesn't make sense. Like, for instance, the show is about a young kid that, well, I think he's 18. So he was an upcoming star, which they don't start with that. Like usually shows start with, there's this person on the trajectory and something bad happens to them and they give up the sport. They don't show that. It actually shows Owen Wilson's character who had that happen to him. He was a star on the rise. He had a meltdown on the course, and now he's very, very poor and splitting up with his wife. He sees the potential in this young kid who had been not through the same thing, but was had similarly gave up golf. He goes, hey, let's work together. I can make you a star, but I'm going to pay for you to do it, which I think was very odd. And then the fact that the mother was like, you need to give us money or we will not do this. It's like, this kid hasn't proven that he's a star yet.
Yeah.
I think you should be begging on Wilson's character to try and take you on board. So that was, I think, even odd for anyone, even if you don't know golf, to go, wait a second, he's paying this nobody kid the potential to help make him a star. It just seemed very odd. But the show was enjoyable. I think it needs to focus more on Owen Wilson, which
Yeah.
is the more important part. It has such potential with there is quite a sad story behind why Owen Wilson's character gave up golf, and they build onto that. They don't just give it away straight away, which I think made it a good show.
Yeah.
So our next award is Best Limited Series. So this is a show that has only got one season, or so far it's it's meant to be one season, or as far as we're aware, it's not getting a second season. So what have you got as your favorite limited series?
My favorite limited series actually has Mark Ruffalo in it, and that's The Task. This is the most human show outside of The Pit. This has Mark Ruffalo dealing with the emotions of losing his wife and also his foster son in prison, and also being the team leader of a hunt for this ex-bikies brother going on a basically bikie like hunt to get money and resources because he's sick of working the normal life. He wants money to secure for his family, and just seeing the realism and how heartful it is, and it actually has quite a satisfying ending. Most limited series actually become season 2s, so it was really delightful to see that it actually ended, and it was quite a lovely ending.
Okay. I've got for my best limited series, I must admit I didn't see many limited series. I've probably only seen one that did qualify, and that is a show on Apple TV called Smoke.
At the moment,
it may get a season 2. It didn't really end in a way that, well, it did. It ended somewhat open, but I don't think it will get a season 2. And I from the beginning had thought it was going to be a limited series. It was only at the end did it kind of show that, oh, maybe this is going to have multiple seasons. So I've treated it and watched it as though it was a limited series. This show stars Taron Egerton. It's loosely based upon true events. Basically, someone that is a arsonist that works in the arson detection department and is writing a book about a fictional arsonist based upon cases that he'd worked. The show then leads on to him, a rat race to try and catch him doing, being the bad guy. I think the show, as much as it was the best limited series I saw this year, it was also probably, one of the most annoying shows I watched all year because its potential was so high and it really didn't live up to it. I think it was a show that I thought was going to be, like a 5-star show and ended up being like a 3-star show at best. So it was very disappointing, and I don't even think season 2 could change that because season 2 would have to be about almost something completely different.
Do you think the writing was kind of juggling too much and thought that he or she's storyline was so interesting instead? Because I think it would have been better, from what you have said, that the story was split into 2 seasons, but season 1 was about the arsonist finding and hunting down the other arsonist, and then season 1's ending was that, the twist is he's the real arsonist or mastermind, and then season 2's about hunting him down.
Yeah, I think they had a real kind of villain in there, this arsonist. They built a bit of time building up his character and showing why he is the way he is. And I thought that should have been the whole first season, trying to capture this guy. And that was quite epic. And then when it happened, you're like, okay, that's the end of the season. Oh, wait, we're only halfway through. Now the second half is going to be about catching the guy who you've been rooting for as the hero all along. And now he's the villain. Or I think that deserved its own separate season. So I think it was poor writing. I think it was someone trying to cram in too much to try and turn this into a slow build into like an epic. And I just don't think it worked. Sometimes I think less is more when it comes to television shows or even movies.
Yeah, from the first episode, I was like, he's nice. But from what you've said, he drastically changes.
Well, that's the thing. They didn't build the change. It wasn't like, hey, here's this person. Oh, he's got a dark side. Oh, he's done that. Maybe he's bad he's the nicest guy around. We really like him to like, oh shit, he's a psychopath. like just like that. I think you've got to build that. I think any good show or movie builds the crazy twist behind a character, and I just don't think they executed that. Our next award is for our best action series. So we're now getting to a bit more specific to genres. So what was your best action series? Can be returning, new, or limited. Just has to be a TV series.
My best action series is going to go to Slow Horses on Apple TV Plus, and it might not be as epic as the other seasons, but it's still action-packed, has a lot of twists and turns, and I enjoyed the action when it comes to, I guess, showing that terrorists can lead to seeing how they provoke and things like that, but it wasn't as epically told as from the other seasons, but still with 6 episodes, what can you ask for?
My best action series, which we just talked about, was Smoke. So mainly because it was, by definition, I think, an action. It did have scenes involving fire and shooting. So I'm categorizing it as an action. So it was, again, lots of downfalls, but I do think it was the best of the action series I've seen this year. Our next award is our best drama series. So any show that we think that was down to be more drama in nature, may have had some funny bits, maybe action here or there, but we thought the premise of it was surrounding drama. What did you rate as your most favorite drama series?
My favorite drama is going to The Pit. I also talked about this in our last live stream with Tank and Zach. This is quite a realistic show when it comes to medical drama. It's not like House or Scrubs and other medical. This is more seeing how one shift is in the one season and seeing how much a medical team goes through in the day-to-day, and seeing how much pain and suffering you have to go through. So for me, The Pit is the best drama for this year.
Awesome. I've heard a lot of people say good things about The Pit.
It's a great show.
For me, the best drama of the year, which I believe, according to the Academy Awards, they consider it a comedy, is The Bear. Okay. I don't think The Bear is a funny show, but I think because of the length of it, it comes under a comedy. So for me, The Bear is definitely a drama. I think it has a lot of drama in it, but a different spin on drama. Usually drama shows are like, this person's cheating on that person, or this person's depressed and that person's that. This is kind of just like a really different level of drama. It's almost like watching a snapshot of each character's life and them doing kind of like normal stuff. I know it's a very special show. It's not really like anything else. You either love it or hate it. It could be seen as extremely boring or extremely gripping because of how real I think it is. So again, The Bear has produced another solid season. Not as innovative as the first season, but each season they've kind of done something a little bit different. So I do like The Bear. I don't know how long it can continue on for, but I'll continue to enjoy the ride. So the next award is for the best comedy / musical. We've lumped them together because that seems to be the done thing in awards. They lump comedies and musicals together, maybe because sometimes it's hard to separate the two. What is your best comedy / musical series of the year?
My best comedy / musical is The Studio, hands down. I think it's breathtaking to see how innovating the cast shows their performance and how each episode shows you a different thing that the company has to go through and deal with, and just the small details of Seth Rogen's character, of how he's always losing. And it's just, I was laugh out loud laughing by the last 2 episodes. What they get up to is amazing, and really looking forward to season 2. I think The Studio is one of the best shows of the year. Didn't make my top 5, but it is definitely an honorable mention.
I really want to see The Studio. The premise of it is something I think is right up my alley.
Yeah, it's good.
The trailer for it makes me really excited. So I've just kind of, it's fallen along the wayside of different things I've seen this year. And I must say, Seth Rogen's had a pretty good year. There's been a lot of things he's in that not necessarily all amazing, but he seems to be in. He's been in quite a few projects that I've enjoyed or like am excited to see. For me, the best comedy or musical, torn up here whether I give it to Always Sunny, even though I've already said that it is the best returning series, or do I give some love to another series I like? So I decided I'm going to give some love. I'm going to give it to South Park.
Okay.
So only because animation doesn't get its own separate award here, so I'm going to put South Park. It's a tricky one because South Park brought out 2 seasons this year.
Oh, really?
Usually they bring out about 10 episodes per season. They've instead decided to bring out 2 5-episode seasons this year.
Okay.
I heard the logic was because it kind of they were like 2 separate chapters or stories, which I don't think at all. I think it's a direct continuation. So I don't know. So I will just go with the season 27 because that was the first one that came out. South Park is very funny. I think it's a good political commentary. I think to really find it funny, though, you do need to be on the pulse of US politics or what's going on there to understand all their jokes. I also think South Park is very clever and meta in the things they do. For instance, they, in one of the more recent episodes, make reference to South Park sucking and not being good anymore.
Mhm.
But we know they're making reference to the show, but in the show they're talking about their town. So they're saying, oh, South Park sucks. No one likes South Park anymore because this happens. But they're making reference to political commentary out in the real world where people are saying South Park's not funny anymore. It's not as good as it used to be. So they're making fun of themselves. It's a unique show in the sense that they bring out an episode weekly and they write it within that week. So they might have an overarching plan of where they want to go, but they react to what's going on. So let's say Donald Trump does something in the news that's funny, or something happens with, P. Diddy or whatever. They go, hey, let's write this week's episode based on it. So it's always relevant, which I think is very clever. Where some shows, I guess, because when they produce them, they come out a year later, to be relevant's hard. So as much as I liked Always Sunny in Philadelphia, one of the funnier or major themes in the season was they were making fun of the Hawk Tour girl, but it wasn't that she's not relevant anymore. She was relevant when they wrote it and filmed it, but when it came out, it's like she's like old news now. Where South Park, because it's animated, they do it that week of, they can be extremely relevant and up to date. But yeah, I guess if you're not into US politics or get all their little jokes, you may not find it as funny as it is. And I just think it's clever, the sense that they can make fun of almost anyone and they get away with it because there's kind of this legal loophole where as long as it's considered that it's obvious that it's a joke. So they can make as much fun about Donald Trump as they want, long as it's so over the top that people interpret that it is a joke. They're not saying that Donald Trump is, so in this season, he's gay and in love with and has a baby with Satan.
Okay.
With Satan. If they were to come out and say Donald Trump's gay, people go, oh, he could sue them. But they make it so over the top, the fact that he's gay with the devil, that is allowed because it is interpreted as that is satire. Everyone knows that that's a joke, and you're allowed to make a joke in America because you have freedom of speech. So they're very, very clever in what they do.
Did you prefer the first part or the second part more?
The first part I think was funnier.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, great series. So that is my favorite comedy/musical series. The next award is the most disappointing TV series.
The most disappointing TV series. I'm probably gonna have to go with Slow Horses, actually. I know it's season 5, but I was really looking forward to seeing how the story would develop. And I think the problem is that they focus too much on this IT character that is a side character. And they make it out that he's so important. These terrorists want to kill him for some reason. And then it isn't really that interesting why they want to kill him. They never give you the correct answer. And it was just really disappointing that I think what the reason why they were focusing on him, because there's so many seasons, they need to focus on different characters for each season. So this is probably why this season feels more disappointing, because they were focusing on a character that I probably personally don't like as much. So it's probably because they were focusing on that character that I feel disappointed, because he's quite unlikable as the main character in the spotlight.
My most disappointing TV series, I'm going to go with. I first I was thinking Smoke, but I've already talked about Smoke a fair bit, so I'm going to go with Marvel Zombies.
Oh, really?
I did not finish it yet, and maybe that's part of why I think it was the most disappointing. I really enjoyed in What If the episode with the zombies, so I was hoping this was going to be a continuation of that in terms of quality and how good it was, but I actually found Marvel Zombies quite disappointing. I know a lot of people liked it. I'm not saying it's not good. I think that it's not as good as that one singular episode that we had in What If.
Can I ask, is the reason because they went away from focusing on Spider-Man and chose Miss Marvel? What I don't understand why they did that, because she isn't as interesting as Spider-Man. So for you didn't like that choice?
I think I would have liked to see them focus a bit more on the A grade like superheroes like they did in the singular episode. I do like that they gave a backstory to how it started. But I do think that it would have been better if I guess the character's part of it, but the story they chose to go with, that they were, basically moving to this like special island. I haven't seen it all where it's like a safe haven. And I think I probably would have rathered something a bit different than that. I just think there was probably more potential, maybe like, I don't know what, but I just thought that was a disappointing choice for what the series was going to focus around. And yes, I guess maybe Miss Marvel. They also killed off a lot of characters in this show, which is not usually the done thing in TV shows, in like superhero shows.
Yeah, it was like watching Game of Thrones.
Yeah, so it was fine, but I think that it had so much more potential based upon that individual episode. So we're now moving into our movie awards. So this time I'll go first, Jake, you can go second. We'll swap the order.
Will we do what streaming service we watched the most?
Oh, yes, sorry, I did. You're right. I forgot one. Best streaming service of the year. So I'm going to give it to Disney Plus. I think it is decent value for money. It has lots of content and it continually keeps buying up more properties. So it is a very, very solid choice. Also, myself having a young family, it gets absolutely smashed at my house with watching Spidey and his amazing friends and Iron Man and his awesome friends, which again are shows that deserve awards on their own. One good way to get kids excited about superheroes. The show does not match up with the story arc inside any of the superhero comic books. Like, Tony Stark is like a young kid and his parents are still alive, and he has his Iron Man suits already, so that doesn't make sense.
No.
And, Peter Parker's friends with all these like Iron, like Spider, Ghost Spider, and Miles Morales already, which again doesn't make sense, and they didn't have that ability as a kid. So it is completely flawed, and all the villains are kind of like kiddish, like they steal like the ice cream van or something. Like it's nothing too serious, but it's fun for kids. It gets them to know the characters. Like my son knows probably more Marvel characters than I do now through these shows, and they always have absolute killer soundtracks. So Disney Plus for being a good streaming service, but finding a way to get kids engaged in things that their parents like. So Young Jedi is also another good one, again, to get kids excited about Star Wars.
Normally for me, it's actually been Apple now. They've got rid of the Apple TV Plus. So it's not this year. It's actually going to be Disney Plus as well. I've actually found I've been enjoying a lot of content on it and not. So I think I've been more sharing the love with Disney Plus. So that's probably why. And I guess Apple can't win it every year. So, and I will mention to Paramount Plus as well.
Yeah, Apple would get my second choice for sure. but maybe unfairly because I really enjoyed a movie that came out, but it wasn't released by Apple. It went to the cinemas, so maybe that's a bit unfair. So we're moving into our movies.
Indeed.
I've got the order written down, but it kind of starts probably with the best thing of the year. That's probably a bit harsh. Let's move that down to the bottom.
Yeah.
We'll build up to that. Let's go with an easy one. Best performance in a movie for this year. Which actor or actress do you think was the best performer?
I'm actually going to go with Emma Stone. I thought her performance in Begonia was such a good performance of betraying, is she what they're saying, isn't she? And seeing how she was betraying the performance and the excellent betrayal of it. I really enjoyed her in the role that she was in.
I really, really want to see that movie, and everyone keeps saying great things about it. A bit disappointed. It was kind of spoiled the other day when we did our live stream. But I guess without seeing it and seeing the trailer, it seemed like it would be the most logical thing to kind of, in the end, what these people feared her to be exactly that. It makes the most sense. So I guess I can still watch with the build-up of seeing how that comes about. So for me, best performance in a movie, absolute A-list superstar here. We've got Brad Pitt. So I think Brad Pitt in F1, yes, you could say Brad Pitt was kind of just being Brad Pitt, but maybe that's just it. He is that good of an actor that he seems natural. Whenever he plays a role, you're like, yeah, I could see him as that. Where someone like The Rock, I think he generally plays himself all the time, just his same broody person, but
just in a bad way.
But yeah, I think of all the different types of movies Brad Pitt's been in, I must say every time I believe his character, there might be some similarities in it. Like I think in Ocean's 11, he's kind of the witty, charming guy. You know, I haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I believe he did a very good performance in that.
Yeah.
You know, in Troy, you know, he finds a way to play, you know, like they Roman Troy? I don't know, their own place. He's like Troy Soldier. You know, just trying to think, like he's the characters might be a bit similar, but they're very believable. I think even in the movie, even though it was very, very odd, the movie that came out last year that was about being in Hollywood and like back in the 20s, and he played this big movie star that was an alcoholic. Again, very believable. You thought he was that person. So he is very much a superstar. And again, in F1, I very much believed the character he's portraying, that he was this kind of superstar F1 driver that now kind of just does his own thing. And, you know, and he it was just a very, very believable and fantastic performance.
What's the sort of genre of movie or role that you would like to see him play? Would you like to see him in a sci-fi movie or a comedy? What as a villain? What would you like to see him portray?
Yeah, I don't think I want to see him as a villain. I'm sure he could do it well, but I think Brad Pitt to me is definitely a hero. I do think he can be very funny. I think in Bullet Train, I thought he was very funny in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for me, he's got to kind of play that character where he's that middle-aged kind of, you know, handsome guy that, you know, is just charming. I think that is the role that suits him the most. Probably not rom-coms. I don't know. It seems to be that he plays the role of someone that suits a blockbuster movie every time. It's always a blockbuster for him, and I don't think he really needs to do anything but blockbusters. So I think continuing doing what he's doing, like maybe a villain to see something different, but to me he's a hero. So I don't know if I want to see him play a villain. What for you was the best performance of the year?
Best performance?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, we already did this.
Emma Stone.
Yeah, sorry, because we were changing up the order and you were going to go last. Yeah. Okay, so this time I'll give my answer first. You go, because I want it to finish with you when we get to the end. Your best movie. Okay, so we talked about the best performance in a movie, best supporting actor in a film. So this can sometimes be tricky to deem who is the supporting actor, but basically anyone that wasn't the biggest name in the movie. So for me, my best supporting actor, I've gone with Keanu Reeves.
Good choice.
So is this one mega superstar, but playing a role that you wouldn't expect in Good Fortune. So he is This movie is kind of equally shared with who might be the main character, but he for sure was the standout for me if he wasn't meant to be the main character. So Keanu Reeves in Good Fortune, he was absolutely hilarious, and it was good to see him play something a bit different. What about you? Best supporting actor?
My best supporting actor is, what's his name?
Yeah, I believe you were saying it was is this the character on the spectrum that was in the Emma Stone film?
Yes.
Yeah, so open up, we'll get his name. I can't, I don't know the name off the top of my head. You had it open.
Emma Stone.
So the character's name is Aidan Delbus. So tell me what you liked about his performance.
I thought he did a pretty spectacular role with someone with a disability. He was believable with someone with mental health issues. He captured the role very masterfully, and I hope he gets more roles. And it's a pretty big movie to be involved in, and he was believable in his performance, and definitely hope he gets another movie.
Do you think would he need to continue to play someone on the spectrum, or like I haven't seen the movie, or it's hard to judge because the character he was playing was meant to be on the spectrum too?
They don't mention in the movie, but you could tell he had mental health issues.
Yeah. And I wonder if that was the intention or whether that was the actor being himself.
Himself.
Yeah, so I wonder would he have success if he got a role and he had to play someone that wasn't on the spectrum?
Yeah, probably not.
We might be able to, maybe he's that good of an actor that, they were getting to juice it up a bit for the role.
Yeah.
Okay, so most surprising movie of the year.
Most surprising movie of the year, that would probably have to be Good Fortune, actually. I wasn't expecting it to be as funny or creative as it was. And when I finished it, I was like, that was spectacular. That was well done. And I really enjoyed the cast. And I was blown away by how surprising it was.
I've got the exact same movie for me. Good Fortune is my most surprising movie. This movie, I literally decided to watch, an hour before I went to the movies. It was the only thing that was on in the time frame I could go. The trailer made it look okay, but I found myself laughing so much in this film, which I don't think movies recently are not that funny anymore. So this I laughed at. I think it had a good message. It had a few plot holes, but in saying that the whole thing is kind of like mythical and made up. So sometimes you have to accept that if angels are able to exist, then certain things you just have to go, well, that doesn't make sense either, and that's fine. But I think in the end it had a good message, great cast in it, and it was just clever, something different. Yes, we've seen these kind of body swap movies before, and rich man, poor man swapping, seeing things from, other people's perspective. But I think it just had a different element by adding in the angels, and I think Keanu Reeves absolutely stole the show.
Yeah.
So most surprising, our next one is best cinema experience. So again, I've mucked up the order. I'm meant to go first. Best cinema experience was Warfare. This is a movie that both Jacob and I liked. I saw it at the movie, so I feel like if Jacob saw it at the cinemas, he probably would have put it would have made it his most best cinema experience. But I guess even if you didn't see it in the cinema, you could still go, that would have been even better. So I fortunately saw this in IMAX. The seats were shaking. The ground was moving. It was loud. It was in your face, and it was perfect for this movie. A movie that I think is extremely genius, and I hope people continue to watch it and discover it in the future, because it is a very clever concept. It is very real. I think it's just an important movie for people to watch, and kind of like a cinematic marvel in the way it was made. So Warfare was by far the best cinema experience for the year.
Good choice.
What about for yourself?
Well, I could do it two ways. I could go for motions and just going the Marvel's back, baby. But I'm going to go for the actual cinema experience. And for me, that's F1, watching it in the, what is it, Pacific Fair?
Oh, did you watch in Screen X or the 4D?
4DX.
4DX.
So watching in that, your seats are moving, you're being moved around, but I would not watch it in any other way. That made the movie, you could feel the experience in every driving scene, and it made the movie, when it came to the story, you were like, oh, here's another driving sequence being pushed around again. But it was amazing to watch it. I probably wouldn't go and watch it for a movie again, because I think F1 was the best movie to watch it in. But wow, what an experience to watch it in.
Yeah, I absolutely loved F1. That would have been my other choice I would have chose for cinema experience. I purely went for Warfare because I think that surprised me, where I think F1 would probably be good watching it even at home. I just don't know if Warfare would have had the same impact. Okay, so that then moves into our best action, so which can sometimes tie into the best cinema experience. So for me, a movie that Jake had just talked about was F1. So that was my favorite action movie of the year. I'm considering action because I think driving cars around a track really fast is pretty action-packed. The movie kind of had it absolutely all. It had star cast, good story, and then amazing cinematography. So I'm going with F1 as the best action film of the year.
I'm actually going to go with Predator Badlands. I thought the gore and the cinematography with seeing the predators fight each other, especially the first scene, that was breathtaking. And then throughout the entire movie, the story's not the best, but the action, you knew you were back seeing the Predator movie for its full gloriness, and then very much enjoyed the end. Seeing that happened, Predator, best action.
Moving into best drama. Again, drama can cover so many things. For me, I've chosen Warfare because I think, yes, it was a movie about action, but my favorite thing about it was probably the drama, the fact that I was invested in a story that I knew nothing about. They don't tell you it's a secret mission. You don't get told what they're doing, who it's about. You just know that this really happened in real life, and you've got to be invested in these characters and try and hope that as many of them survive what they're going through. So it was drama to the absolute max. So that Warfare was my favorite drama film of the year.
I'm going to go a little bit different. I'm actually going to go best drama is Thunderbolts, because for a Marvel movie, this is the most dealing with mental health and trauma, what you have been through. And then the scene with Sentinel, when they all come together and embrace him, that was the most impactful moment I think we've gotten in phase 5. What I really enjoyed that. Him getting there, and then that was a little bit unrealistic for what the movie was going for. But for a Marvel movie, I wasn't expecting how much of a drama masterpiece I was going to get, and I really enjoyed the Thunderbolts for that.
Mm-hmm. So now you move on to best comedy/musical. So for me, I've gone musical, and I've chosen Wicked for Good. This movie is kind of love-hate for a lot of people. I think if you're a theater nerd, you will absolutely have loved it. If it's not your thing, you'll go, I don't really get it. Have you seen it yet?
No.
I really love how it ties into The Wizard of Oz. My criticism of the first part was, how the hell does this relate? Like, this is a large stretch of trying to put these two together. These doesn't even have the same feel, but this movie ties it up. Yes, people could say that it was a dumb way of tying it up, but I'm kind of looking at it going, maybe it was just the right amount of genius. So I really love Wicked for Good. The actors have gone a bit off the deep end since this movie was made, but nonetheless, I enjoyed it. Yeah, the music was okay. The spectacle and what was going on, it was, good as well, which is what you come to expect. But I think that the way it wrapped up Wicked and tied into Wizard of Oz, it's kind of made me excited about maybe actually going and seeing the live action, seeing it as the musical at a local theater, where I was very anti seeing Wicked before. Now I think I'd like to go see it after seeing the movie.
Good choice.
What about you? Best comedy or musical?
Best comedy has to go to Good Fortune. I laughed. I had a fun time watching it. Wasn't expecting much. And I don't normally laugh when things are trying to get you to laugh unless it's Friends from Chandler, because he's actually funny. But this movie is actually pretty deep for a comedy movie. And I can't say more things about this movie. I think it's a very fun, comedy-driven movie. Go and see it and you'll laugh as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now onto the most disappointing movie of the year.
Wow.
So for me, I've gone with Friendship. So this movie stars Tim Robinson and how do I forget his name? From Anchorman and from Paul Rudd. It's got Paul Rudd in it. This movie had all the makings of being really good. Its reviews before it came out were like so funny, 5 stars, 4.5 stars. I think obviously both these actors are hilarious. I think Tim Robinson's comedy style is so good. I love every other project he's in. So I went in there with really high expectations of this, and it thoroughly disappointed. I don't think I laughed at anything in it. I don't really understand what the point of the movie was or what even to take away from it. I feel like after the hour and a bit that the movie went for, nothing happened. It didn't progress any storyline. So, which is really sad. So I was expecting this to be one of my favorite movies of the year and by far the most disappointing movie of the year.
That's unfortunate.
Not the worst movie. I do have a movie I'll talk about soon I think was worse, but it didn't disappoint me. It was where I expected it to be. So this movie disappointed me.
It wasn't that bad, but it disappointed you.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be my favorite movie of the year, and up until 2 nights ago, it was my least favorite movie of the year. So what for you was the most disappointing movie?
I'm very sad to say this because I really love this franchise. It's Mission Impossible 8. And for me, the problem with this movie is that it just tries to feed you scenes from the first one, tries to reference it. And me and Mum actually rewatched from number 1 all to number 7 to remember all the details from number 8. And I feel like them trying to refresh and show you scenes from the first one absolutely ruined the experience for number 8. It was my most anticipated movie for this year, and that's why it disappointed me, because for me, the ending was not what I wanted from the ending. It was basically keeping that we can do with number 9. Everyone gets scot-free. Even the scene when Sean Penn's character and they just, with 10 seconds left, the characters just ran and they survived. Just the writing, I think, wanted to be basically trying to play homage to the first movie, and it was just a disappointing send-off, and it's more upsetness that this movie has caused, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. Like, I don't have the same investment as you have. I've seen the first one, the 7th one, and the 8th one. I thought it was a good movie, and I was on the edge of my seat, but I didn't have the investment. I kind of just saw it for what it is. I was like, the movie's called Mission Impossible, so they're clearly going to do the impossible. So, like, to sit there and pull it apart and go, there's no way they could have done that. It's like, no shit, they couldn't have done that. Like, it's meant to be that way. So it was so over the top. Like, nearly everything they did was like, nope, could not be done. There's no way any of that could have been done. But at least I was like, that's the point, and it felt high stakes for me. But I didn't have the investment of the characters, the flashbacks and all the other things that went in. I was like,
that was annoying.
Like, I didn't know. I was like, I don't know if that character's important. All I know is Tom Cruise is going to, at the end of the day, do something so bullshit but save the world. And I was like, and I knew it was coming, and I was like, at least I was there watching, going, is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? Which I thought, if a movie can build suspense and get you to feel that way, then it's done its job.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if you're a lover of the franchise and you've just invested 8 movies, then you could be disappointed. But for me, it was like the second movie for me almost. It was just like, okay, I saw part 1, Dead Reckoning, and then this is like cool. They like got the keys and solved
Defeated the AI.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, cool. So as a standalone, I think those 2 movies are pretty good. But
part 1's better.
But it's probably a bad ending for something that, when you've invested, you've watched 6 other movies besides those 2.
Yes.
Okay, so worst movie of the year.
Okay.
So this could be a podcast, a full thing on its own. I'm sure this will get a lot of hate. People will disagree. For me, it is Avatar, Fire and Ash. I have been critical of Avatar in the past, but I still stand by. I think that this was the worst of the 3 so far.
That's
the reason why I think it's the worst movie of the year is because it was bad and long. You got to be one of the 2. You either need to be bad and short, or
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. If you're gonna make something bad, you may as make it over quickly. Like, like you could just rip the Band-Aid off and be like, that hurt, and move on. This was like being waterboarded or tortured. There is very few movies that I've wanted to leave. This movie, I actually at several times just wandered out to just waste time and come back, and the story had not progressed in the time I went. It was not that it was slow. It had so many twists and turns and so-called epic events that didn't progress the story anywhere. And still, at the end of the third movie, we were at the exact same point we were at the end of the second movie. Nothing has changed. They focused on the same thing, and we know nothing more about the characters. There's just been a few like miracles that occurred where some people now have abilities they didn't have before. But beyond that, it feels like James Cameron sitting there going, how can we make this epic? What can I do? What can I do? And he's just made a list of things, and he's gone, fuck it, let's just put them all in. Let's just chuck them all in and hope that people go, whoa, 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 mind blown. And at the end, you're like, if you blow someone's mind that many times, you're desensitized.
Yes.
Like you can't have, like, there's only so many times you can think that someone's going to die and they survive, or someone swaps allegiance, or you just can't keep doing it because it doesn't have the same effect. It's like if we did Star Wars and we found out that Luke Skywalker was, Darth Vader's son, like in the first 20 minutes, then you're like, well, how do we one up that? Or it just doesn't have the same effect. It's only had that effect because you built it up over 3 movies.
Yeah.
I actually think James Cameron lost the plot, and I think
since Terminator.
I think people think he's like way better at what he does than what he is. I think the acting was poor, the casting was B grade, and I don't think it's that pretty. It's like, you see this creature and you're like, oh my God, look at it. Well, it's not real. Of course it looks pretty. You watch any David Attenborough 4K filmed documentary that comes out on, Disney Plus now, and it is visually more stunning than that movie. And one took $1 billion to make and the other didn't. So I think if you're going in there and just going to take away, well, it looked pretty, well, go watch a video game, play a video game, because it's no more stunning than a video game.
So basically, we ended up at the same point we were in the second movie, but now they have superpowers, and now if it does well, they're making 2 more movies about.
Well, yeah, they've introduced a faction that you've got to somehow believe that they are going to be such a big problem and threat, because the humans are no more or less defeated than what they were, and there's just nothing really that's changed. It's just. It is a movie it's a meeting that could have been an email. Honestly, like it was 3+ hours of something that you could have just, crammed into a much smaller thing, because the story didn't progress any further. Yeah.
What do you think what element, or what do you think will happen in the 4th one, if it happens?
I think that these fire Na'vi people, that basically they have lost connection to land. They don't believe in Mother Nature or whatever they call it in this, because because a volcano destroyed their forest many years ago.
Mm.
And they're like, we don't give a shit anymore. We don't believe in Mother Nature. She turned her back on us. She burnt down our forest. So now we've got to believe that they are like the ultimate villains because they don't give a fuck about anyone else because of how bad Mother Nature treated them. All while this like Mother Nature character can like end this whole thing at its own will but it chooses not to. They pray to it enough that eventually it gives a screw and goes, yeah, I'll help you fight the humans. I'll send these like creatures from the deep that will just destroy them all for you. Here you go. And it does it. And you're like, why don't you just do that
in the first movie?
Why didn't you, like, soon as the humans came to Earth, destroy them with whatever magical powers you've got? Like, why are you not fighting back?
Sounds like a plot convenience.
Yeah, it's very stupid. So that was my worst movie. What's your worst movie?
My worst movie of the year is Superman. I think James Gunn has lost the plot with cramming too much. He likes to be every movie. He likes to copy from Guardians of the Galaxy. He's very good when it comes to characters that are like Star-Lord and Peacemaker, kind of have that funness to them. Or Superman is meant to be a dark. He's meant to, he's not like those characters. So for me, I was hoping James Gunn was going to make it. Yes, I actually like Superman, and that was the job that I was hoping he was going to do. And he did not do that. I can admit it's a fun movie, but I want a little bit more than just fun in the title. So for me, Superman is the worstest movie of the year. And it introduces Supergirl, and to me, it's just an episode of the What If Drunk Thor. That's what they're going with, and I'm not really impressed with Supergirl. And I actually believe James Gunn isn't even going to be in charge of DC anymore because of the whole Netflix thing. So that's interesting. So yeah, Superman's my worst movie.
Yeah, I can see why you say that. I like Superman, but I do think it was a bit silly. I think it's a weird direction for me. Superman has always been a bit more serious, and they moved away from that, and maybe that's what it needs. It feels like it was a bit of crowd service. I think the fans did like it, but do I think it was the best way it could have went? Probably not. But at the end of the day, they're trying to put bums on seats and fund a second movie, and it did that. I think the whole crypto thing was a cheap attempt to get people to like fall for this animal, which sucks because I think crypto is really cool. I also think they got it wrong with crypto. Crypto was meant to be a Labrador. I think going with this little fluffy dog annoyed the shit out of me because that's not correct.
Yes.
But yeah, I can see why I didn't dislike it as much as you do, but I can see why you thought it was the worst movie all year.
Well, if I saw Avatar, I'd be saying the same thing.
Yeah, I hope that I haven't like tainted it, so when you go to watch it, you see it from my view.
I agree with you. I don't like Avatar.
Yeah, I just think it's I'm not fooled by this trickery of beautiful colors and pretty animals. You got to back it up with a story that means something.
Well, if you could nut out the story of Avatar, how would you nut it out with the 3 movies going for 9 hours of film?
Okay, so humans are ruining their planet. They're overpopulated. They need resources. They've found this awesome planet that has all these resources.
Pandora.
And, the people on there don't want to give up their planet. Like, they work alongside them a little bit, and then they find out the humans are really evil and they want to destroy their special tree and blah, blah, blah. That's kind of cool. It has now moved off to like
whales.
Yeah, the humans just want the whales, and the forest people have now came to help the water people who kind of worship the whales, but they're not willing to fight for the whales. And the whales are like, could fight back, but they choose not to because that's not their thing. And, I just think, like, what is that? Like, you built this whole epic thing about resources, and now it's down to wanting the blubber from the whales so you can sell it. That, to me, is a side story, but they've made that the main story. I don't know. The fact that I've just watched 6 hours of movies, number 2 and 3, and the whales, it's still about the whales, baffles me how that's possible.
The whales are the main plot.
Yeah, and this whole idea of they're like all the humans really want to get revenge on Sam Worthington's character. It's like, just leave him alone because he's not coming after you. Every time you go after him,
You lose.
He fights back and you lose. Just let him be. He is not actively trying to take you out. He's actually in hiding and wants to just hang out with his family. You're the one that keeps poking the bear. It's so damn stupid. Just leave him alone. Continue to mine your resources and whatever, and like piss off. Like it's just very stupid. So now for the main event, best movie of the year. I'm guessing we've probably already talked about each of ours at some point now. It would have won a previous award. So for me, I've gone with F1. There's not much more to say about it other than it, one, surprised me, blew me away. I thoroughly enjoyed the experience of seeing it in the cinemas. I can't wait to watch it a second time. The performances were great. It adds an element of things that I tend to love. I am a sucker for things that are, I know it's not a true event, but it has real people in it.
It does. Yeah.
It has real race car drivers, so it's an element of realness. It's got sport, and and it's got like really, really awesome action scenes and unique filming. The way that they have to build special cameras through Apple to make this work, so it kind of ticks a lot of the boxes. People that watch this channel would know that I quite often, my favorite movie is usually a true story, and if it's got sport in it, it kills it for me. Like it does so well. So this kind of ticked all the boxes, and it was a big blockbuster too. So it deservingly is there. What was your favorite movie of the year?
Drum roll. Mine's the same. F1 for me. This does the blockbuster right. I saw it in the cinemas. I had an outstanding time watching it. Brad Pitt does a fantastic performance. Very believable. I was someone that did not believe in Brad Pitt at first, but now he's an actor that I would love to see him in any movies that he's in. If he's in a movie, I'm going to go and see it. Doesn't matter what it is, I'm going to see whatever he's in. The filming for this movie is breathtaking. The technology that Apple use, it's amazing. The ending's the only thing that I didn't like, but even so, I still loved it. The movie's just wonderful to watch, and I think it's definitely if we had a category for the best blockbuster that you would recommend to people, this would win it for sure. And I think it can tear up Avatar and say bye-bye.
I like as well that it wasn't super predictable. Like, yes, what happened, it's not new, but it wasn't so like the ending could have went either one of two ways, but still until it happened, you weren't sure which way it was going to go. Like often you watch a sports movie and you're like, oh, they're going to win at the last minute. They're going to make the catch. They're going to throw the ball or whatever, and they're just going to win on the siren. Where this, you're like,
you think the young person's going.
Well, you're like, one of these two are going to happen, but which one is it going to be? So it still found a way to be predictable, but still on the edge of your seat. It had the element of, the backstabbing like villain in it, but again, it wasn't who you thought it was going to be. I don't know if that was because, they got like the most James Bond villain to be the owner. Then you're like, surely he's going to be a bad guy. He has to be a bad guy. He's always a bad guy. And it wasn't that case this time. So I think there was a lot of things in this movie that surprised me. And I'm not an F1. I'm actually an F1 hater. I think my friends that like F1, I laugh at and think it's very odd that they sit there and watch race cars. But I was caught up in this film, and I'm not a fan of racing at all. So if you can admittedly, I'm not going to become a fan of race cars, but the fact that you've convinced a kind of an anti-race car person to think this was a good movie, you've done your job.
What would be direction if they did a sequel you would like? Would you like them to focus on the Black African American and then Brad Pitt becomes the owner or like a coach or part of the team?
Well, I think that's where they would have to go. They'd have to focus on him now and his career moving forward. Brad Pitt has to then become a mentor role. and then we watch him trying to move up the ranks and actually win something. Like, yeah, he won a race. Yeah, well, I mean, like he's like the next big thing, but he achieved nothing. He's essentially the worst racer in there in the comp. So I think they could do that, but I don't think they will. I think they'll ruin it. I don't think they will make the sequel. I think it's I also don't think it's really Brad Pitt's thing to. I know there's a few of the Oceans films, but he doesn't really make sequels as such. So
No.
yeah, so I don't think they'll go there. But if they did, that's where it has to be. I think if Brad Pitt keeps racing, then I don't think people will buy it.
So it would have to take like a Creed approach of how the first Creed did it.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, and he helped get him and teaches him more race tactics. But then you got to follow this whole idea of, I don't want to follow you. What do you know? You're a wash. And we've already seen that, so you can't do it again. So it would be a pretty boring movie where he goes, I respect you because you helped me and I know your methods are wild, but you know what you're talking about. So let's all be friends and I'll start winning. Like it doesn't work. There's got to be a drama. And I think we've already seen that happen. So I don't think it can work. So I don't think there'll be a sequel.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is our awards for 2025.
Indeed. Thank you for everyone for tuning into the videos. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Wish you all the best and stick tuned for next year and all the best.
See you later, everyone.
Bye-bye.